Hey there, Fletch from All Things Overlanding here, and today I'm going to be talking about do-it-yourself mods and kind of like overlanding on a budget by doing things yourself. So I'm going to give you some specific tips. I'm going to talk about some really cool projects that I've kind of done on both my old truck and my new truck that I just got. Even though I just bought a new truck though, a 2023 Nissan Frontier, I love this thing. It was a ton of money, right? So I'm trying every way that I can to save a few bucks on my modifications. So again, I've got some really cool ones like this tilting drawer slide I'm going to talk through. I've got some bed lighting that I did for under 30 bucks. I'm going to show you all these tips and tricks for how to kind of get into overlanding by doing some stuff yourself to save money. So if you want to hear about more of that, stay tuned. Alright guys, so as I mentioned, today I'm going to be talking about do-it-yourself modifications and kind of doing things yourself, making them from scratch, using stuff you've already got laying around to make new projects so that you can save some money and still get out and have fun whilst not having to break the bank. So as you can see back there's my old truck, my big old second gen Nissan Frontier, and then right here is the new third gen Nissan Frontier, which I'm loving. And you know, having a brand new truck is just really nice. This one will be for sale at some point, so if you're interested, it is Titan swapped. It's huge, it's on 35s. It's an awesome capable truck. It's just I got ready for, you know, I'm a little less off-roader now and a little more overlander, so I wanted something different. So anyways, I digress. Hit me up if you're interested in the old truck. But so for the new truck, I'm going to walk you around this thing with the hope that it will inspire you to come up with your own ideas for stuff that you can do yourself. All right, so starting at the sort of the back of the bed of the truck here, there's a big black Plano crate laying here, and sure, there's a strap on it and some cords and stuff. This is, you know, I'm in the middle of working on this thing. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening on the podcast, again, I'm going to do my best to describe everything just so that you know what's going on. But, you know, we are looking at a big black Plano crate that sits in the back of my truck behind my do-it-yourself drawer system, which I will get into here in a second. So this big black Plano crate back here is a Plano crate that I've had laying around for years, and I decided to get a pretty good size 200 amp hour LiFePo 4 battery and hook it up to my Red Arc stuff. Now that is an expensive piece of kit, right? The Red Arc stuff is fantastic. It's awesome. It's got a screen up front where I can control everything. It's got a phone app. There are other options though too, and I'll put some links in the description down below to everything that I talk about, from the Red Arc to, you know, there's one that Garmin has now. There's, you know, always the like the aux beams and the Nightlight 8-bit switch panels that you can get. But where I'm going with this is you could, you know, save yourself a ton of money by just wiring up simple 12 volt stuff. And there are a ton of videos on YouTube that you can get and watch to teach you how to do simple 12 volt stuff. So yeah, you could take it to a shop, you could pay a bunch of money to have them just simply wire up some ditch lights, you know, a refrigerator, that kind of thing. Or you could get something like a Switch Pro or, you know, an aux beam 8 or 6 gang panel that would do the same thing that you could hook up yourself. I also recently just got a Blue Sea distribution block that I'm going to wire power to from the battery inside my cab, so then I can hardwire everything inside the cab without having to continuously run power from the battery back into the cab. So that'll be a future video that's coming. But so this box back here is basically just a big battery with a control system on it that then I run out to all my different stuff. Like I've got a backup camera there so I can kind of monitor the stuff in the back of my truck and make sure nothing's like blowing out or falling out. It powers these lights that I've got going up here. It powers my fridge right there. It powers all kinds of stuff back there. My strobe lights right back there, those are also powered from this box. So again, just kind of thinking outside the box, if you will, and coming up with a solution to make a dual battery system, even if it's just a simple isolator and then throwing a battery in a waterproof box like this. Something like that can save you a ton of time, tons of peace of mind, because then you're not worried about your starter battery dying and things like that. And again, I had most of this stuff just laying around at my house already. So that's one thing. Next, let's talk about these lights. So again, if you're on the podcast, I'm going to describe this. I have, and I will put a link in the description down below, and I've bought these 3 times now. I had them on my old truck, I've got them now on the new truck, and I just absolutely love them. They're about 25-30 bucks. They're from Nightlight, and they are just LED strips. You get 3 of these waterproof exterior LED strips. They've got these sort of proprietary cables that connect them all together. Actually, they look like this here. So they're just like plugs. You literally just plug them in. These terminate in a red and a black wire. So again, I hooked them up to my Red Arc stuff so I can push a button and turn on that circuit, and then that will turn on these bed lights, or I can activate them from my app that connects to it, so I could be up in the rooftop tent and turn these things on. But these things are intended to be for like a truck bed, to put, under the rails down there to light up the inside of your truck bed. What I do with them though is they have 3M adhesive on them. So I just threw them up on the side of the rails of my rooftop tent because it's really smooth aluminum so that it sticks really well. Plus it's out of the weather, so I don't have to worry as much about it, coming off at some point, or that sort of adhesive letting go. So I took these $25, $30 lights and I basically illuminated the entire truck bed by moving them up to the rooftop tent instead of putting them down in the bed. So now when I turn these things on, and here I'll show you, I'll go flip that button and I'll show you. When I turn these things on, they illuminate the entire bed and about 5 or 6 feet out on each side from the truck. So I basically have entire camp lighting. So, it's daytime, but if you're watching on YouTube, then you can see how bright these things are. They're really, really bright. So, not everything that you can do yourself has to be, literally fabricating stuff or creating stuff from scratch or carving things out of wood. You can repurpose things too, which is one of my favorite things to do. I love to take stuff that is intended for something else and then find a new way to use it that suits my purposes and my needs. So that's a good example there with the bed lights. Now next, we'll talk about the drawer system. So again, if you are watching on YouTube, you can see this, but I just built 2 big equal drawers. They're about 20 inches across a piece, and they have a ton of space inside of them. And really, it only cost me, so I bought a gallon of Herculiner, and Herculine the whole thing just to waterproof it. But then, you can see how much room there is in here. I've got tools back there. I've got leveling blocks. I've got an entire rigid case with all my kitchen stuff in it. I've got a portable shower. This is all cooking stuff, my little Stanley stuff. This is all soap and dude wipes and things like that. This is all bagged food, freeze-dried food. These are pots and pans, and then down below there is my Coleman Fold and Go stove. So all that stuff fits in here. You can kind of customize where your dividers go. Another idea that I had was I took these little Molly mounts for flashlights and I put those on the inside of the drawers. There's one on the inside of each of these drawers. And then I have a flashlight that has like a strip on the side of it that's meant for illuminating like a large area. So I'm going to put those flashlights in here. Then I'll be able to turn on the flashlight to flood the inside of the drawer and basically illuminate the inside of the drawer. Or if I want to use it, then I can just disconnect this thing, pop the flashlight off, and then I've got a flashlight. So multi-use, right? You can save some money by using things for more than one purpose, which I really like to do. So those are the drawers. That's another good idea for do-it-yourself type stuff. Then probably my favorite thing and my newest thing that I just did to the truck is the do-it-yourself tilting fridge slide. So this was actually just a piece of, as you can probably tell here, if you're watching on YouTube, this was just a piece of scrap wood that I had laying around that I Herculined. So I waterproofed it just like I did the box, just to protect the wood and make it last longer, and also to make it match the look of the box. And then I took my fridge slide that I had in my old truck and my old fridge that I had, and I basically mounted it to the top of this piece of wood. Now I'm going to do a video on this to go really in depth as to how I built this thing and how I made it slide. But basically it's a hinge on this end, and then it has some limiting straps on the back. So I'm going to put the camera on the tripod here, and I'm going to open it to kind of show you. So again, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see it. On YouTube, if you're on the podcast though, of course, it's basically just a do-it-yourself tilting drawer slide, which is another way to save money. I had a need. I needed to have this fridge back here in the back because I'm not going to take my rear seats out like I did in my last build, because I have to be able to take my kids now. This is my only vehicle once the old truck's gone. So I wanted to put the fridge in the back, but I needed to have access to it and be able to get the food out of it. So this is how I solved it. So again, it's really about creativity and just kind of thinking of ways to use stuff that maybe wasn't intended that way originally to suit your purposes, right? Again, these are just a few of the things that I've done, from the do-it-yourself tilting slide to the drawer system to the, repurposing lighting that was intended for something else. So I hope that those are some cool ideas or give you some ideas, some sort of fresh new things to think about in your build. But you don't have to go out and buy a 400 or 600 or however much tilting fridge slide if you don't want to. You can just fabricate something with a couple of bucks worth of parts and a little ingenuity. So again, there will be a video coming on that in the future. If you are just now stopping by and this video is not just posted, then you may just check out the channel to see. There are a ton of do-it-yourself mods and things like that on the channel. Also in the description down below will be links to all my social channels, so wherever you want to come hang out, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wherever. I'd love to have you. Just come over there. And then last but not least, there are links to the Patreon page. We've got an awesome Discord where we all chat 24/7. We do a once a month like Zoom call to hang out, which is a lot of fun. And then there's the Newbie Overlanders Facebook group. Totally free to join. About 13,000 members at the time that I recorded this, which is really cool. So again, if you want to be part of that group, we'd love to have you. Come check that out as well. Lastly, as I mentioned, down in the description below will be links to all the things that I mentioned in this video. So if that helps you, go down there, click through those links, and hopefully it makes it easy on you. But again, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening if you're on the podcast, and we'll see you next time.